fellow Toastmasters and friends and family here. I grew up in a family of poor farmers. My grandpa was a poor farmer. He was a sharecropper, then a landowner. Then he saved his money, and finally in the 1950s, he bought himself a farm. His son, my daddy, was a poor farmer, excuse me, and I follow as a poor farmer. We weren't the poor farmers of like the grapes of wrath and the Jodes with young Rosa Sharon on top of her family's belongings. Hi, we're from Sequoia County too. No, or Ma Jode sitting tired and frightened on the running board of the family's beaten and loaded pickup truck, her hands folded in her lap like two tired lovers. No. Weren't the poor farmers of the Depression or those who gambled on seed that was destroyed by pestilence or floods or rapacious capitalists? No, we were just simply poor at farming. And I often wonder what it is that generation after generation of my family would be poor farmers. And then it came to me, it's genetics. And I'm the recipient of those genes, those poor farmer genes. There were episodes that indicated the poor farmer gene, but as a child, you just accept things for what they are. It wasn't until university that I started to detect these. Nothing could be more humiliating for a 7th grader than to look out the school bus window and see his cows mistaken as deer running across the neighbor's fields. Look at them cows! Now look at them deer! Those aren't deer, those are Schwab's cows. We'd scamper off the bus and run to the payphone, call Mom and Dad, the cows are out. Okay. Or Dad coming home from an auction. I got 70 fence posts for $20. That's a good deal, son. We can put a fence around those cows. Well, they were all busted and twisted beyond repair. Just pound them out. Years later, Dad put a security light between the garage and the house. It lit up the entire barnyard too. Why? I can't sleep at night. Well, you don't want to trip on tools in the dark on your way from the barn. He must have been referring to the tools that were left to rust or be found by the lawnmower come spring. There was then the famous chicken burning incident. Back in the 1970s, movie theaters were surrounded by parking lots and glass lobbies. It was the mid-70s, it was winter, there was a thaw, and we all piled into the family's 4-door pickup truck. 7 kids and their friends to see Star Wars for the 5th time. On the way, something horrible, something terrible smelled. We figured that it was one of the chickens that crawled up into the engine and gotten toasted. Well, we parked, Dad, right in front of the lobby, just like a Jodes. My brothers and sisters all scampered out of the truck as quickly as they could to get into the theater. Would you pull the chicken from the truck, son? Are you crazy? No, 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 I'm not going to do it. I was not going to do it, no. I was not going to get out there and pull the dead chicken carcass from the bottom of a truck engine in front of that cinema lobby. I may have lost the 9-year-old Gracias, it was very tasty Spanish episode in Ecuador, but I won this one. And I wasn't going. We watched the movie, and coming home, some point between Brooklyn Center, Minnesota and Dayton, the chicken carcass fell on the interstate, and we all breathed a little easier. In university, I come home. Grandpa and Dad were fixing to start the tractor. Would you fill the tank up with gas, son? Sure. For the life of them, they couldn't figure out why the thing was bone dry. They were poking and prodding with a hanger, taking the filter off and blowing it, all the while I watched, wondering what the heck was wrong, until finally I said, "Oh, Dad, drain the radiator, son," he said to me. It was then and there that I decided I would stop the predisposition of the poor farmer gene. But how? It came through the spouses. I determined that was the only way. Through strong and supportive partners and spouses. Grandpa succeeded in farming after Grandma made him get another job. He worked at the munitions factory, so the only thing that really happened was that he had to stop poaching. He figured working for Federal Cartridge and getting busted for poaching was not a risk he wanted to take. My father studied animal husbandry in university, encouraged if not demanded by his father to take up farming. But his heart was in the skies as a pilot, and he saw a DC-3 flying overhead and decided that's what he wanted to become. Probably plowing another crooked road. I supplement my farming through being a flight attendant. I remember my mom telling my father, though, "That's enough of that crap." Was one of his ideas. So my advice to you is to save yourself, stop the poor farmer gene, and find a partner who's strong and balanced and thoughtful. Barring that, study, read, and think before you act. Study, read, and think, and have a second job lined up just in case.